So then I'll put that.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes. Okay. I'll talk to him.
Thank you.
I actually just wanted to get this to you just as your reference.
Excellent. Sure. Thank you so much.
Try to find what's between.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to those who are here in our sanctuary. Just take a look around. Our noses and mouths may be masked, but our eyes are not. And welcome to all of those who are joining us remotely tonight. We are once again gathering as one community as we enter this most holy and most demanding of our holidays. Join me, please, in your Machzor, page 1224. The last lines of Adon Olam, to acknowledge that it's not in our hands. Page 1224 at the bottom. Beyado af kiduchi, beit ishan ve'ayra, ve'im ruchi geviati, Adonai li ve'lo ira, ve'im ruchi geviati, Adonai li ve'lo ira, beyado af kidruchi, beit ishan ve'ayra, ve'im ruchi geviati, Adonai li ve'lo ira, ve'im ruchi geviati, Adonai li ve'lo ira. Adonai li ve'lo ira. Welcome, Harriet Sugarman, here to the Bima to light our Yizkor candle and also our Yontif candles. And Harriet, as you get the matches in your hands, I just invite us all to take a moment and first bring to mind the loved ones who are not with us, but who are so present in our memories. And now if we could all rise together. Sending our love to the loved ones who are with us as we enter this holiday. We say the bracha together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel yom tov. And now if you would turn to your handout. Oh, hear my prayer, I sing to you. Be gracious to the ones I love, and bless them with goodness and mercy and peace. Oh, hear my prayer to you. Hear my prayer. Hear our prayer. Oh, hear our prayer to you. Be gracious to the ones we love, and bless them with goodness and mercy and peace. Oh, hear our prayer to you. Let us light these lights Let us light these lights and see our way to you, and let us say Amen. Amen. We can all be seated, and how beautiful to hear all your voices.
A beautiful tableau, for sure. A lot of white. Y'all got the memo. And at home, a special welcome to all of you who are dialing in. May this be as real from your living room as it is from our communal family room. Welcome all who are on screen and all who are in the room. Tonight, we are spiritually together, even when physically apart. Praying and repenting and growing together, we each bring our own strengths and weaknesses. May we have the discipline and humility to see those strengths and weaknesses clearly, the courage to face them, and the merit to improve a bit 1 year to the next. We're all flawed, but awesome people. We make up an imperfect, but truly holy community. As we'll affirm in song in just a few moments when introducing Kol Nidre. First, at this almost exactly sundown hour, it will be 24 hours and 4 minutes from now when we blow the shofar, give or take. So enjoy the light, enjoy the feel as we enter this moment, along with everyone else on this same latitude, all across the world, north and south, entering Yom Kippur together. This prayer, brief prayer about community, is from Reb Nachman of Bratslav, adapted by Rabbi Eben Lieder. Please, Rachamana, merciful one, let there always be love and great peace among us. Let us be inclusive to each other. Let us awaken each other. Let us remind each other to honestly turn toward you. Let us remind each other to overcome and get rid of our bad qualities and tendencies, and to acquire the good qualities and do what is good and right in your eyes our entire life. May we all return to you in complete teshuvah and fix everything we've done wrong from childhood to this very day. And from this point on, help us truly live in accordance with your good will. May we live beneath your gaze. We say together, Amen. We'll now take the Torahs, affirm our togetherness as one community, distant and present, and annul any unfulfilled vows. So we get to start clean and try again and do better this time. If you have a talit, this is your cue, page 690. If you have not yet donned the talit, or even if you have and just want to stretch, you are welcome to rise first. And we want to invite our Torah holders, Kate and Steve, up as well. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ruach haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatef b'tzitzit.
Amen.
We may rise. Page 692, One Holy Community.
Vishiva shel mala, uvishiva shel mata, al dat hamakom, ve'al dat hakal. להתפלל עם העבריינים. בשיבה של מעלה ובשיבה של מטה, על דעת המקום והקהל. עם העבריינים. בשיבה של מעלה ובשיבה של מטה, Kol Nidre ve'esare u'shavue v'acharame ve'koname ve'kinuse ve'chinuye Udishtabana udacharimna udasarna nafshatana miyom kippurim she'avar עד יום כיפורים זה הבא עלינו
טובה כולו ניחרת נבהון כולו יהון שרן שוויקין שוויצין בתלין ומבוטלין לשרירין ולקיימין נדרנה לנדרה ואסרנה לאסרה ושבועתנה שבועות.
Kol Nidre sare ushwe acharame vekoname vekinuse Din darna Ude yishtabana Uda charimna Uda sarna al nafshatana miyom kippurim she'avar ar yom kippurim zeh haba aleinu letova kulhon yicharatna v'hon kulhon yehon shran shvikin שביטין בטלין ומבוטלין לשרירין ולקיימים נדרנה la nidre sarana la esare ushwatana la shmuot. Kol Nidre vesare ushmuel acharame vekoname vekinuse vechinuye din darna ud ishtabana ud acharimena ud acharimena sarna al nafshatana miyom kippurim she'avar ad yom kippurim zeh haba alenu letova
kulhon icharat navehon kulhon yehon sheran shevikin shevitin betelin umevutalin la sheririn vela kayamin nidrana la nidre vesarana la esare ushevuatana la la
We turn the page together.
ונשלח לכל עדת בני ישראל ולגר הגר בתוכם כי לכל העם בשגגה ונשלח לכל עדת בני ישראל ולגר הגר בתוכם כי לכל העם בשגגה. And once again, ונשלח לכל עדת בני ישראל ולגר הגר בתוכם כי לכל העם בשגגה. סלח נא לעוונם הזה כגודל חסדך וכאשר נשאת להם הזה ממצרים ועד הנה ושם נאמר ויאמר אדוני סלחתי כדבריך ויאמר אדוני סלחתי כדבריך ויאמר אדוני סלחתי כדבריך. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Amen. We can all be seated.
Hope you all feel a little lighter with your vows now annulled. Kol Nidre's freeing legal formula comes and goes. It paves the way for our evening service and for this entire rich, challenging, hungry, thirsty, rewarding day. And though there's a lot of pageantry, melody, insight, even uplift, we've had some already, let's not lose sight, this day is all about teshuvah, introspection, repentance, and betterment. Core to this process is vidui, confessing, owning our errors, cataloging our shortcomings, preparing for positive change. Tonight and tomorrow at intervals, we'll have moments of reflection to help with this vidui, to center our teshuvah, to keep the day's focus on this holy process. In these moments, the hundreds of us who are virtual can turn away from the screen. We're going to invite you at these moments to turn your focus inward, all of our focus inward, perhaps toward any people who may be with you, even perhaps toward a pen and paper to jot down insights, if that's how you let this sacred day serve your holiest purposes. Turn away from the screen and toward yourself and toward turning itself, because turning is the root to teshuvah. 3 vidui prompts tonight are first. Hopefully we've used Elul and Rosh Hashanah and these 10 days for repentance, so that our self-awareness should already be great and our improvement lists should already be long, but they're never great or long enough. What's one more thing for which you should do tshuva. One more misstep looking back for which you can yet apologize. One more old harm for which you might yet try to compensate. One more clear commitment to becoming a better person in the year ahead. Make a mental, if not a written, note of it as we take this silent vidui moment. As we return to the room, don't forget those insights. Keep those insights gathered throughout this holiday. Keep your tshuva fresh. Keep your commitments accessible. That's how we will make this a happier, healthier, better New Year. We dedicate tonight's Ma'ariv evening service to ever pushing ourselves in Teshuvah on this, the last of the 10 days, Aseret Yemei HaTeshuvah. Inviting Chazan Mike Zusman, what an incredible gift to have his presence, his voice, his Torah, his Menschlichkeit with us. With our deep gratitude to lead, we are on page 708. We rise as we are able for Baruch Hu.
Et Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch HaShekhinah Mevorechet Le'olam Va'ed. You may be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvarom ayde v'alim chochma potech sha'arim u'mitnash et hazamanim u'stezukot v'vishmerotem berakia kirtzono b'rayom alayla וחושך מפני אור, ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. איי לה 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 I nine I na 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 I'm the nine I'm nine Baruch atah Adonai Ha'ma'ariv Anavim. The prayer for God's love is on page 712. אהבת עולם, בית ישראל עמך אהבת, תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו, בשוכבנו ובקומנו, נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ויורך ימינו, ובהם נחגה יומם ולילה, ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. Ein 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 Baruch Baruchat Ya Shekhinah Ohevet Ama Yisrael. The high holiday, the special melody once a year, 3 times a year, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur for Shema on page 714. And the one day of the year when the angels are even closer, and we invoke the angelic response aloud as well. Ein, 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 Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod, Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol vavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher Anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha v'veitecha u'v'lechtecha v'derech u'shochbecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu לתותפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. Continue silently with the selections, page 715 through 722. והיה אם ישמע תשמע בכל אדוני אלוהינו ישמוך זאת ובעולך כל המלאכות האלה שימו לבקדי שמע ברוך פרעי ויתנך ופריעת מרתעת ופריעת המם ושכל אלפיך וישתר רצונך ברוך אתה בבואך ברוך אתה בביתך את החיים ואת הטוב ואת המוות ואת הרע אשר לכם ובשתבים יפנה הגעתי לכם היום החיים והמוות נתתי לכם, הברכה והקללה, בחרת בחיים, למען תחיה אתה וזרעך. ויאמר נא למשה Three lines from the bottom, 722. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. We now turn to page 728. For Mi Chamocha, the lead into that from the bottom of the previous page, the song of celebration at the sea. Mo malchuto b'ratzon kibelu aleihem Moshe u'Miriam u'vnei Yisrael lechanu shira b'simcha rabba v'yamru chulam Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai Mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh Nor tehilot osef malchutecha ra'u vanecha bokei hayam lifnei Moshe zeli anu ve'ameru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed v'ne'emor ki fada Adonai et Yaakov ugalo me'ad chazak mimenu Ein, 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 ein. Ein, 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 Baruchat Ya Shekhinah Gal Yisrael.
Once again, we come to this night now with our worries before us. Our prayer is an invitation to acknowledge our fears, not to suppress them. In this moment, in just this one moment, we allow our concerns, our fears, our worries, all to be gathered under the canopy of our prayer, to be held there, all of them together, in the peace and strength of community. And somehow, with our cares laid out in front of us like this, we begin to see that we are not alone with our fears. By giving voice to those basic human worries all together, we remind ourselves that we are the directors of our thoughts, not the victims. We ask now for the quiet of heaven to be with us as we enter the night, in the shelter of each other, wherever we are. We find the strength to pray. May our children be safe. May our loved ones be healthy. May our planet be renewed. May our lives be worthy. Page 730.
בעצה טובה מלפניך להושיענו למען שמך.
Join me, please, on the next page, 731. Let's read together these words from Mordechai Kaplan, second paragraph. Please join me. Enable us, God, to behold meaning in the chaos of life about us and purpose in the chaos of life within us. Deliver us from the sense of futility in our strivings towards light and truth. Give us strength to ride safely through the maelstrom of cares and anxieties. May we behold things in their proper proportions and see life in its wholeness and its holiness.
ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך. ברוך אתה אדוני הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים.
Continue now on page 734. The biblical proof text for this night and the day that follows, tying us back all the way to our founding roots. Please join me, page 734.
כי ביום הזה יכפר עליכם לטהר אתכם מכל חטאותיכם לפני אדוני תטהרו.
Come now to our evening meditation. It's the custom for us to stand in whatever way we're able, rising in our bodies, rising in our spirit, to join together in the evening Amidah. This evening, I'll have some guided imagery to share with you. You certainly can follow the words that are here in your book or follow along with the images that I have to share. Either way, taking this time for reflection, for personal meditation. Please rise as you're able.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agid tehilatecha. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agid tehilatecha. O God, open up my lips as I begin to praise. Oh God, open up my lips as I begin to praise.
We stand now with the fullness of our spine, our heart open, our back strong, and approach the first of 7 gates. The first gate opens for us And we see here the original ancestors, the first 7, each of one who knew God in their own way and who passed on a legacy of faith to their descendants and their descendants and their descendants. And we find behind this first gate, behind the generations that followed that original generation, our own ancestors, all gathered together, all welcoming us forward through our prayers as we give thanks to the shield of Abraham, the strength and source of help for Sarah. And the next gate opens. Behind this gate is the visible manifestation of God's healing, strength, and power in our world. We look around us and see the life-giving love that is stretched forth to every corner of life in compassion, finding through human connection the possibility of raising those who are fallen, of healing those who are sick, of freeing those who are captive, of reaffirming faith all the way to the end of life. We see the tzmachim, the saplings of salvation, nurtured and fertilized, and we acknowledge the source of life, which gives life to all of life. And the third gate opens for us. It is the gate of holiness, and as we approach this gate, we hear the choir of angels, their voices growing louder as we approach the entry, and then once we make our way inside, are immersed in the sound of their supernal song, their praise for the Creator. And we acknowledge that source ourselves, joining in with the choir to give praise and thanks to the sovereign, the source of all holiness. And the fourth gate opens for us. It is the gate of this most holy day. It is the gate through which we join with all of our people across all time zones, nationalities, and languages to seek forgiveness and to give forgiveness with the strength of the community all around us. We come through this gate and we acknowledge the source of all forgiveness, the one who knows all of our transgressions and yet supports us as we make our way, sovereign of all the earth, who sanctifies Israel on this holy night. And we make our way to the fifth gate, the gate of service, the gate of true prayer. And we enter this gate and see around us all of the flame of faith of all of our people, offering up their prayer as an offering that is received. And in the moment of this offering, we see the possibility of a return for this truly holy Creator to Zion in compassion. We acknowledge the source of all life, who brings her own presence back to Zion. And we come into the sixth gate, which is the gate of gratitude. We pause here and allow ourselves to be filled with wonder once again as children for all the miracles that are truly in our world, for all the wondrous and beautiful and good acts that are with us in every hour, every evening, every morning, every day. And we acknowledge that source of life, which is a source of our gratitude. And we come to the seventh gate, which is the gate of Shalom. And it's in this gate that we somehow find the vision of peace that eludes us in our daily seeking. We find in this gate that we can see the possibility of peace even in this deeply broken world. And we add a special intention for this evening that we be written in the book of life, that we be remembered and inscribed, we and all of our people, for life and for peace. And we acknowledge that source of peace. And now some moments on our own to turn to the first of the confessions of Yom Kippur. The words are in our book on page 762. And I'll invite us once again to partake of that Yom Kippur custom of tapping on our hearts, which in the past surely was thought of as a kind of self-punishment, a gesture, a small gesture of self-flagellation, but which we may see today not only as that personal self-admonition, but also as a way of knocking so that the heart can open even more fully. I invite you to follow along at your own pace with your own thoughts and the structure of the confession that begins on page 762. Take your time with your own private prayers and join me as you're ready, as we also invite our singers to the bima. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom. Shalom. Shalom. Shalom. Shalom.
Taking our seats as we're ready.
Thank you so much. We promised Vidui prompts, and we are deep in Vidui territory, confessional. We do this partly on our own and partly inside each Amidah that we offer this day. Traditionally, 5 of them out loud, preceded by 5 of them silently, 10 confessionals over the course of this day. We just had our silent version, and we will soon turn toward excerpts of the Vidui, the confessional liturgy, including Ashamnu and Al-Chet, giving voice to those prayers all together. They are, after all, in the plural. But vidui more broadly means our own inner work throughout the day, throughout the season, ideally across the year. So tonight's second brief vidui prompt. What's one challenging, important thing on your teshuvah list? Pick one, just one. And sit for a second with how the flawed reality really feels, how it hits you, how it affects you, how it affects others. When we feel that pain, that gap between where we want to be and where we are, hopefully we also feel our motivation to change. We call this ratzon, the will, the desire. We feel that rising within us as well. Tap into that desire, that ratzon. That is what will sustain us through the long, hard work ahead of changing, of improving. And from that place of desire, what's one new, maybe very small, concrete action you can and will take? One more moment to reflect. Starting on page 794, we let our slichot, our apologies, pour forth. Chatanu lefanecha, in sinning against others and against our own truest, highest selves, we have sinned against you, O Holy One. 794.
Please join with me.
Rachum v'chanun,
Chatanu lefanecha, rachem aleinu. Chatanu lefanecha, rachem aleinu.
Adon haselichot, bochen levavot, gole amukot, dover tzedakot.
Chatanu lefanecha, rachem aleinu. Chatanu lefanecha, rachem aleinu. Chadur b'niflaot, drav ha'aliliot, zocher b'rit avot, choker kelayot. Chatanu lefanecha, rachem aleinu. Chatanu lefanecha, rachem aleinu.
Tov umetiv labriot, yodea kol nistarot, kovesh avonot, lovesh tzedakot.
Chatanu lefanecha, rachem aleinu. Chatanu lefanecha, rachem aleinu. Malei zachiot, norat tehilot, soleach avonot, onav atzarot. Chatanu lefanecha, rachem aleinu. Chatanu lefanecha, rachem aleinu.
Poel צופה עתידות, קורא הדורות, רוכב ערבות, שומע תפילות, תמים דעות, חטאנו לפניך, רחם עלינו. חטאנו לפניך, רחם עלינו.
Page 800 in our Machzorim. Together, standing in whatever way we're able to declare those 13 attributes of God.
Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum V'Chanun, Erech Apayim, V'Rav Chesed V'Emet, Notze Chesed La'alafim, Nosei Avon V'Fesha, וחטא ונקה. אדוני, אדוני, אל רחום וחנון, ערך אפיים ורב חסד ואמת, נוצה חסד לאלפים, נושא עוון ופשע וחטא ונקה.
We remain standing, page 814.
Shema kolenu, Adonai Eloheinu, chus verachem aleinu, vekabel berachamim, berachamim uveratzon, et tefilatenu. Shema kolenu, Shema kolenu, Adonai Eloheinu, chus verachem aleinu, vekabel berachamim, berachamim uveratzon.
We remain standing as we continue through our communal confession, top of 8:16.
Eloheinu ve'Eloi avotenu ve'imotenu al tazveinu ve'al titcheinu ve'al tachlimenu ve'al taferu ritcha itanu karvenu letoratecha lamdenu mitzvotecha ותסלח לעווננו ככתוב בדברי קודשך למען שמך אדוני וסלחת לעווני כי רב הוא.
We'll join in at the refrain. Eloheinu ve'Elokei avotenu ve'imotenu selach lanu mechal lanu kapel lanu ki anu amecha ve'ata Eloheinu anu amecha ve'ata avinu anu avadecha ve'ata gadoneinu anu kevalecha ve'ata chelkeinu anu nachlatecha ve'ata goraleinu anu tzomecha ve'ata roeinu anu charmecha ve'ata notereinu anu fiulatecha ve'ata yotzereinu anu rayatecha ve'ata dodeinu anu sigulatecha ve'ata keroveinu anu amecha ve'ata malkeinu anu molirecha ve'ata mamirenu.
Page 818 from Mutuality. Ki anu amecha, we're your people, you are our God, we fit together to the differences, to the realm of the infinite and the finite, fallen, challenged, limited realm that we inhabit. We are stiff-necked. You, God, are slow to anger. We are fragile. You are ultimate. So let's not be so insolent and stubborn as to say here before you, Holy One, we have not sinned. Aval anachnu chatanu, we have all failed. And we can all do better. Page 820.
Ay, 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 Ashamnu, bagadnu, gazalnu, dibarnu dofi, ay, 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 Evinu, Vehirshanu, Zadnu, Chamasnu, Tafalnu Shaker, ay, 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 Yatsnura, Kizavnu, Latsnu, Maradnu, Niatnu, צררנו, אבינו, פשענו, צררנו, קישינו עורף, איי 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 רשענו, שיחתנו, תיעבנו, טעינו, תיתנו, איי 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 איי
Page 828.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך באימוץ הלב, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בבלי דעת, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בגלוי ובסתר, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בדעת ובמרמה, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בהרהור הלב. חטא שחטאנו לפניך בטיפשות פה, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך ביצר הרע, ועל כולם אלוה סליחות, סלח לנו מחלנו, כפר לנו, ועל כולם אלוה סליחות, סלח לנו מחלנו, סלח לנו מחלנו, כפר לנו.
שחטאנו לפניך בכפת שוחד, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בלצון, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך במאכול ומשתה, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בנשך ובמרבית, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בסיקור עין, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בעיניים רמות. ועל כולם אלוה סליחות, סלח לנו מחלנו, כפר לנו.
שחטאנו לפניך בפלילות, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בצדיעת ריח, חטא שחטאנו לפניך בקשיות עורף, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בריצת רגליים להרע, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בשנאת חינם, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בתשומת יד, ועל כולם אלוה סליחות, סלח לנו מחלנו, כפר לנו. סלח לנו מחלנו, Selach lanu mechal lanu
We can be seated. Join me in expressing thanks to Michael Gottlieb, who helps to lift our prayers off the page with his fingers, and for our beautiful singers, the subset of our choir who are singing with us this evening, of course, under Lisa Summers' direction. A special gratitude to Cantor Mike Mandel and David Steinhorn, who are guests with us singing this evening, and to Seha Yun, our wonderful pianist. Ask us now to inhale and exhale. Takes a special skill with the mask on, I know. With the first of our confessions now completed, we turn to our founding rabbi, to Rabbi Sid, for his words for us tonight. Invite him to the bima. His talk, Ele Toldot, these are the generations.
Shana Tova, Gemar Tov. Coming to the bima this evening, I have a flashback to last year when the only folk here were Rabbi Fred, Rabbi Rachel, and myself, and the tech team. And the entire service had to be broadcast. It was the inspiration for my message last year called Longing for FaceTime, in which I used the lack of contact as a metaphor for the growing separation and alienation that we have one from another, both in our community, in our nation, and in the world. We are a step in the right direction this year, although not at full capacity as we had hoped a few months ago. But it is great to see people in the kahal, in the congregation, for sure. I can't tell you how much it fills my heart with gladness to see so many people here, and we know that there are many more who are tuning in through Zoom. And if you have a chance, and you should find the chance, you need to express your appreciation to Rena Milchberg and the entire staff and lay leadership, which has gone through heck to figure out how to pull this off, because 2 months ago we thought we'd be fine. Rena, thank you, and everyone who's been part of that. Ela Toldot, these are the generations. And I want to dedicate this sermon to my first grandchild, born August 17th, to Avi Jesse Swartz. I like funerals. Don't get me wrong. I know that funerals represent loss. I feel deep empathy for the mourners. And death can also be tragic, especially when disease or tragedy cuts short a life precipitously. But even though the loss of a loved one leaves an emotional hole in one's soul that may never fully heal, uplifting the accomplishments and values of the deceased never ceases to inspire me. I like funerals because they teach me a ton about life. Sometimes when I know the deceased well, I wonder why in all of our previous interactions, I never learned about the many things that got revealed by the eulogies. I accept some of the blame for that, but I would also fault the widely accepted social convention that too much probing in a social situation is not polite. And then there's the converse problem, even more common. Being in a conversation with your counterpart when they don't ask you a single question about you. We are left in a situation where we know a lot of people. We even call them friends, but we don't know much at all about them, or what's really important to them, or what makes them tick. Sounds a lot like Facebook. But the problem preceded the launch of Facebook and exists independent of that platform. There's a version of this problem within family systems that is a bit more complex. How well do those of us who are parents succeed in conveying to our children who we are and what matters most to us? And conversely, how often do children ask their parents about these life questions when they're teenagers, when they're young adults, when they themselves become parents? I was recently part of a memorial service for a Jewish communal professional who worked on the national level advancing adult Jewish education and working to create a more vibrant Jewish community. Several prominent rabbis spoke at the memorial service and offered teachings in honor and in memory of the deceased. The final speaker was the son of the deceased, an articulate young man in his 20s. The son said that his father was a great dad. He had wonderful memories of going to ball games with him, family vacations, and just hanging around the house. Then the son added, "A lot of what I just heard from the previous speakers was new to me. I really didn't know what my dad did when he left the house on Monday mornings." I felt sad thinking about how much the son could have learned from his father had he shown an interest in the way that his father impacted the wider world. The accomplishments, the failures, the lessons his dad learned in the course of his professional work. And I also felt bad for the deceased father. How he would have loved to share more of what made him want to get out of bed in the morning with his son. This phenomenon is not unique. I have officiated at many funerals when the surviving children have regrets about not knowing more about the lives of their recently deceased mother or father. Often, death is the impetus for an adult child to want to learn more about the parent who has just passed away. Judaism puts a high priority on our linkages to past generations. One of the most frequent passages in the Bible is Eile Toldot, the title of this sermon. These are the generations of ... The phrase sets up a story, and it ties that story to a generational chain that may go back several generations. Those long lists of genealogies in the Bible are not just filler. They make the point that so much of what we do is built into our DNA based on who has raised us and on the generational legacy that has been passed down to us. Even the form of our names in Hebrew link us to previous generations. Hebrew has no surnames. My name in Hebrew is Shalom Chanoch ben Avraham Yehudit. Sid, the son of Alan and Judy, and all the generations who came before them. And in that way, I am linked to generations that go back centuries. But modern society has weakened the link between children and parents considerably. The emphasis on identity formation privileges the autonomous self. More and more parents feel that they should not impose their values on their children. As children mature, they want to become masters of their own destiny. Many young adults, either consciously or subconsciously, find that both geographic and emotional distance from their parents is necessary for them to fully mature and create a life that is not tied to the wishes of their parents. For parents, knowing how to let go may be the single most challenging part of parenting. I recently became more attuned to the difficult navigation between parent and child from the child's point of view. This summer, a friend of mine, Ethan Davidson, published a memoir about his relationship with his father. Ethan is the son of William Davidson, the one-time owner of the NBA Detroit Pistons, and a nationally prominent Jewish philanthropist who died in 2009. I got to know Ethan because the Davidson Foundation is one of the major funders of my national work with rabbis and Jewish social entrepreneurs. Ethan heads up the foundation's grants committee. Ethan left Detroit as a young man and traveled the world. His primary professional pursuit was as a singer-songwriter, and he supported himself by playing gigs all over the US in bars and restaurants. During that time, he was pretty much estranged from both his father and his extended family. This is an excerpt from his book. Through all my changes, all the different identities I took on, I was struggling to individuate, to get as far away from my father as possible. Nothing grows in the shade of a big tree. I tried on a lot of different faces. I was a lot of different people. My father wasn't always comfortable with the identities I was trying on. But if I was playing in Detroit, he always came. Eventually, I had to tell him not to come anymore. I don't think my father ever was able to understand the degree to which I really needed to individuate myself from him. Reading this, my heart was breaking for both Ethan and for his father, who I did not know. But here is the remarkable thing. Not only did Ethan come back to Detroit in his early 30s, he came back to all the things that his father most deeply cared about. He became a very serious student of Judaism. He built a small bungalow behind his house where he retreats every Shabbat with his three sons, Asher, William, and Levi, now ages 13, 12, and 8. And every Shabbat, he studies Jewish texts with his sons, goes for walks, and observes Shabbat in this Shabbat bungalow. Ethan has taken on and taken over the family foundation with great seriousness of purpose. And the book he just published is a form of reconciliation with his father. Such are the mysteries of life and of families. Eila Toldot, this is the true, unsanitized story of generational transition. Let's remember that in the first case of individuation in Jewish history, Abraham decides to smash all the idols in his father's idol-making shop. It was Abraham's way of saying, this cannot be my path. I suspect that the reason funerals often trigger the beginnings of a grown son or daughter wanting to know more about their mother or their father is that there is no longer a need to individuate, to protect the space between parent and child. The parent is now gone. And ironically, what was once a need to separate so as to establish one's own identity evolves into a desire to understand and to pass on the values that the previous generation represented. A few years ago, I had the opportunity to meet Marshall Duke, a professor of psychology at Emory University. His life work has been about exploring how we pass down family legacies. His 20-question Do You Know questionnaire provide prompts that offer a simple way to start the practice of family storytelling. You can find the questions on the web. Professor Duke's most important finding over 25 years of research is that the more an individual knows about her or his family, the more resilient she or he becomes. Giving our child deep roots is the prerequisite to giving them the wings so they can become who they are destined to be. Every family has its own approach to how parents continue to exert influence over their children, even as they become adults. And every parent struggles with how to give their adult children enough room to make their own decisions. But I do believe that we all stand to benefit by putting this issue on the table for more open discussion between the generations. Here are 3 ideas I'd like to offer you on this Kol Nidre. 1, Judaism has a tradition of ethical wills in which parents write down the values and aspirations that have been central to their lives and they hope might be embraced by their children. There are several books on the subject that offer guidance on how to write an ethical will. Now, if you do write an ethical will, please do not stash it in the safe deposit box with your other will. It doesn't belong there. Find a way to share it with your grown children and set aside some time to talk about it. 2, create a special time when you can tell family stories to one another. Maybe it's on Hanukkah. Maybe it's at the Passover table. Maybe it's over Thanksgiving weekend when families gather. For many years, when our family came back after Kol Nidre services, we sat in our family living room, which we almost never sit in. We sat with our children and pulled out letters that grandparents wrote both to us and to our children. We never got through the letters without crying. I don't know how much of these letters my kids remember, but I know that they remember the sacred time we set aside for the transmission of generational memories. And they got the message that family stories matter. 3, validate the path chosen by your children. Honor and respect their decisions, even if, no, especially if it would not have been the path that you would have chosen for them. And don't just think it, tell them. A little validation goes a long way. And it will make it safer and more likely that they will in turn reach back to you for generational wisdom that can be so important in their own life journeys. In Midrash Tanhuma, there's the following passage. There are 3 names by which a person is called. 1 is a name that parents determine. 1 is the name that the public gives a person based on what they do in the world. And the 3rd name is the name one gives to him or herself. The last one is the most precious name. The Midrash is teaching parents a lesson. Your work is never done, but it changes over time. The name that you give to your child is precious, but in the end, your grown child writes his or her own name by the person they want to become. Honor that 3rd name. Respect the path that your adult children have chosen. And for heaven's sake, do everything in your power to keep the lines of communication open, even if it means eating some undeserved humble pie. Ela Toldot, this is how we pass a legacy on, bidor lador, from one generation to the next. Wishing you and your families a Shana Tova U'Metuka, a healthy, happy, and sweet New Year. Shana Tova.
If you would turn to your handout, number 2, a combination of a verse from Proverbs and a verse from Torah, which say to us, listen, my child, to the instruction of your father, and don't turn away from the Torah of your mother, even as you find your own path in life. That Torah which was commanded to Moses, which is a legacy for all of our people, comes through the ancestors we know most personally. Please join me, number 2, to affirm this beautiful teaching that Rabbi Sid has just given us. Shema beni musar avicha ve'al titosh Torat imecha. Shema beni musar avicha ve'al titosh Torat imecha. Torah, Torah, ציווה לנו משה, מורשה, מורשה, קהילת יעקב. תורה, תורה, ציווה לנו משה, מורשה, מורשה, קהילת יעקב. שמע בני מוסר אביך, ואל תיטוש תורת אמך. שמע בני מוסר אביך, ואל תיטוש תורת אמך. תורה, תורה, ציווה לנו משה, מורשה, מורשה, קהילת יעקב. תורה, תורה, ציווה לנו משה, מורשה, מורשה, קהילת יעקב.
As we near the close of tonight's service, one final vidui prompt. Though remember, this is the great work of the day and the night and the day. So at home tonight, instead of the normal news or Netflix or nightcap, your Yom Kippur homework is more vidui. Building on Rabbi Sid's rich teachings, Eila Toldot, these are the generations focused on what we are passing down to those who come after us. Our prompt: focus in on one area where perhaps you have fallen short with a specific younger person in your life, a child, a niece or nephew, a student, a mentee. And also on one area where you or we are not yet being the great ancestors we should, not yet ensuring a sustainable and just world for all the generations yet to come. Think about the near and think about the far. These are the generations. A moment to reflect. Mekorenu Eloheinu, our source, our God. Avinu Malkeinu, our parent, our sovereign. help us make our tshuva real. And in so doing, in strengthening us to choose life so that we and our descendants may live, you will, in fact, chamol aleinu va'al tapenu, have mercy, take pity on us and on our children, on our descendants. To introduce this key High Holy Day prayer, we invite Tanya Alteris and Mark Schneiderman. On page 818, she will read, as an introduction from Rabbi Rami Shapiro, God is the mirror of all. We're standing right in front, looking. What do we see? What will we change? Page 818.
Today we stand before the mirror of all to see ourselves as we are. We come with no gifts, no bribes, no illusions, no excuses. We stand without defense and wait to be filled. What will fill us? Remorse, certainly. So much error and needless pain. And joy, remembered moments of love and right doing. We are too complex for single-sided emotions. And we are too simple to be excused by our complexity. Let us be bold enough to see, humble enough to feel, daring enough to turn, and embrace the way of justice, mercy, and love.
Thank you so much. As Tanya and Mark open the ark, we turn to page 452 for the traditional 458 for a range of images for God. Mekorenu Eloheinu, Avinu Malkeinu.
And as we're preparing for this, we just read that our experience is too complex to have one type of emotion. And before, Rabbi Fred mentioned that we asked for forgiveness for being a stiff-necked people. Well, I have a pinched nerve in my neck, so sometimes life imitates liturgy as well. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu Lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Enanu Melech El Ata. Avinu Malkeinu, Aseh Imanu Lema'an Shemecha. Imenu Malkateinu, Chadeshet Aleinu Shana Tova. Mekorenu Eloheinu Aferet Tzad Oyevenu Avinu Malkeinu Salach Mechalach Olavonotenu Avinu Kenu Achazinu B'Teshuva Shlema Lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu Shalach Refuah Shlema Lecholim Avinu Malkeinu Kotzvenu B'Sefer Chaim Tovim. Avinu Malkeinu Kotzvenu B'Sefer Geula V'Yeshua. Avinu Malkeinu Kotzvenu B'Sefer Parnasa V'Chalkala. Imenu Malkateinu Kotzvenu B'Sefer Zechuyot. Mekorenu Eloheinu Kotzvenu B'Sefer Slicha Mechila. Imenu Malkateinu Atzmach Lanu Yeshua Mekarov. Avinu Malkeinu Zechor Ki Afar Anachnu. Imenu Malkateinu Chamol Aleinu Ve'al Aleinu V'Tapenu. Avinu Malkeinu Aseh Lema'an Harugim Al Shem Kodshecha. Imenu Malkateinu Aseh Lema'an Shmecha Gedola Hagboret V'Hanora Shenikra Aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu V'Haneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu V'Haneinu, Ki ein banu masim, Aseh imanu, Tzedakah Imanu tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshienu. Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu Anenu, Ki ein banu ma'asim, Aseh imanu, Tzedaka v'chesed, Aseh imanu, Tzedaka v'chesed, ve'oshienu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu Anenu, Imenu Malkatenu, Chonenu Anenu, Ki ein banu ma'asim.
We may be seated. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike. Ele Toldot, these are the generations, of course. We think of those who meant so much to us, whose influence lives on in us, but who are not with us. Not with us today, not with us on this plane of existence at this time. Page 1216, the first of a number of opportunities, culminating, of course, with Yizkor itself. As a reminder, tomorrow afternoon, Mincha, then Yizkor, and then Ne'ilah. So Yizkor, I believe, is at 5:30, available online, as well as if you signed up. But we carry them with us always, inviting all those who are in mourning or commemorating a yahrzeit, particularly feeling it this Kol Nidre, to please rise. Or as may be your custom for the Mourner's Kaddish, 1216. In their memory, Yit Gadal v'Yit Kadash Shmei Rabbah, Be'alma Divra Chirute v'Amlich Malchute, B'chayechon v'Yomechon uv'chaye Dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala uv'izman Kariv v'Imru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam Al'almei Almaya, Yitbarach v'Yishtabach v'Yitpa'ar v'Yitramam v'Yitnaseh v'Yithadar v'Yitaleh v'Yithalal Shmei Dekudsha B'richu Le'ela Le'ela Mikol Birchata v'Shirata Tushbachata v'Nechamata Da'amiran Be'alma v'Imru Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya v'Chaim Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael v'Imru Amen. Hoseh Shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel v'Imru Amen. Actually, you remain standing, inviting others as able to join Zichronam Livracha, their memories for a blessing, and they are part of what we have to give thanks for. Page 1202, tonight in the regular melody, tomorrow in the great full prostration version, Aleinu. Aleinu leshabeach la'adon hakol, latet gedula leotzer breshit, shenatan lanu Torat emet, vechaye olam nata betochenu, va'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני רוח מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא
שמנות השמיים ויוסר הארץ משה ויקרא בשמם משכנו אינו על כן נקבל לך לנו בתפארת זכר לתקן עולם במלכות שאתה וכלנסר אז גרשורים כי המלכות שלך עימה תמלוך בכבוד, כך כתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר, והיה הוויה לרוח על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא. ביום ההוא יהיה הוויה אחד, ושמו אחד.
We reach the end of this evening together and reminding us all that this holiday is known as the day that has no boundary between day and night. It's just a 25-hour period where we allow ourselves in to this particular chamber of consciousness, is why we wear our talit in the evening and in the morning on Yom Kippur. So as we make our way out tonight with an opportunity to greet each other in person, which is a delight, especially this year, and to send warmest greetings to those who are with us remotely, to invite us to also hold the pose, so to speak, to stay in the posture of this contemplation and this reflection. As Rabbi Fred, I think, mentioned, we'll be together tomorrow morning, 9:30 for the beginning of our morning service. Our B'yachad family service begins at 12:15. There are also a whole series of afternoon learning and reflection opportunities. It's all listed on our website, and you hopefully got the very carefully timed emails with all the links to everything that you ever could possibly want to go to on Yom Kippur. With enormous thanks once again to all of the people who participated in tonight's service. We wish everyone well through this fast, through this time, to please keep well and to find the strength to do this Yom Kippur introspection that our tradition asks of us every year at this time. Let's end together back on page 1224, the way we began, with the final verses of Adon Olam.
Lai, 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 la, la, lai. Lai, 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 la, la, lai. Lai, 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 la, la, lai. Lai, 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 la, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai.
Yeah. Gmar Chatima Tova.